Today, I want to share 5 tips on how you can prepare yourself for a return to work in 2021. So let's just get into it, because tip 1 is that you might have to prepare for it to happen quicker than you might think. When I think back to the start of March, it all happened so quickly. There was one day that we were in the office, and the next day we were doing a test to work from home that quickly became the new normal. Heading back into the office will probably take a much more phased approach, but with talk of a vaccine that could have a 95% success rate and be rolled out within 30 days, then I think it's fair to say that we might actually just end up back in the office a lot quicker than we might have thought. And that's great news, but it does mean that you have to prepare yourself for some rapid change that could happen at the start of 2021. And that's worth thinking about now, because you might have another drastic shift in the way that you live your life coming up in the next couple of months. And it's good to be mentally prepared for that, so that when it happens, you make the most of it. So tip 2 is to make sure that your employer knows about your situation now. You might have made big lifestyle changes that you didn't tell your employer about. Maybe you've been working in another country for the past 6 months. Companies will be bound to make solutions for people like you who maybe feel a little bit of extra risk. But if you don't tell them about that now, then they can't make those plans, and they're within their rights to be a little bit annoyed when you spring it on them with a few days before everyone's back in the office. But what will an office even look like in 2021? I think we should all expect change, because even if we have a vaccine that guarantees 95% of people can work safely in an office, there's still going to be protocols in place that protect the most vulnerable and stop this kind of thing from happening again. They might not be for the long term, but I definitely expect things like plastic shields around people's desks, hand sanitizers all over the place, the amount of toilet space massively reduced. It's going to feel a little bit weird to get used to at first, because when things are really familiar to us but slightly different, that's when they get surreal, and we can enter what's called the uncanny valley, where some things just don't feel right and we can get really anxious about the situation we find ourselves in. If that happens, take a deep breath, stay calm, and talk to your colleagues about it, because everyone will be going through that same feeling. And remember, it's much better than the situation we've had for all of 2020. And hopefully, as time goes by, we can make our office feel a lot more comfortable and human again. Tip 4 is to remember to prioritise your work-life balance. This has been really tough for a lot of people, let's not get around that, but a lot of people have really cherished the extra time that they've had to spend with their family, especially if they've got young children. And for the rest of us, we've just enjoyed not having to commute and the ability to cook at lunchtime and then have your evening meal ready for as soon as you clock off. Maybe it's just me because I'm relentlessly positive as a person, but I just feel like working from home, we've all seen that there are much better ways that we can live our life at a slower, more sustainable pace that's better for the environment and better for our health. And I think that we should make sure that continues even when we're going back into the office. Tip 5, just to temper my optimism a little bit, is to not throw out your personal safety kits. And by that I mean your hand sanitizers, your masks, any precautionary things that you carry around with you in your bag. You should keep hold of them, because they're going to be useful even if we get out of this pandemic. One of the things that I've really understood when I went to Japan a couple of years ago was that people wear masks to prevent themselves from infecting other people around them, not to just get sick. At this point in time, that seems really obvious, but believe me, back then it really didn't. And going forward, I think we should all commit to wearing masks on a more regular basis, even when we've just got a cold or aren't feeling well. It's basic practice to just stop your colleagues from getting sick. And I really hope that this pandemic has put an end to people coming into the office when they're feeling ill. But at least if they do and they really need to be somewhere, they can now feel comfortable wearing a mask or taking hand gel with them and not have that pang of social awkwardness. So tip 6, and probably the most important one of all, is to just be mindful that other people might have had a different experience to you. As you can see, I've personally adapted pretty well to working from home, but I am very considerate of the fact that other people have had much different experiences to me, and I completely appreciate if they see things in a different way. That's fine, that's what it's all about, and I wouldn't want to work in an office or a company where people didn't have different points of view that we're all listening to. Some people are naturally more anxious than others. Some people are more adaptable, and some might have gotten really used to a certain way of living throughout lockdown and find it hard to actually readjust to normality again. So I just ask you to be considerate to your colleagues. I hope this video has given you some food for thought about returning to the office, and if you did like it, then please do give me a thumbs up down below. Since starting this channel, I've really begun to appreciate just how much effort goes into researching, planning, writing, recording and editing a video, and you know, every subscriber that I get, it just means so much to me, because it means that all that work is really helping people, and that's basically what I'm here to do. So thanks so much for watching again, and I'll see you in a bit, hopefully in the next one.